All right, cool. What's up, Manny? Thanks for the help, man. All right, cool. We're going to get this thing kicked off now. All right, so I'm back on my checklist. There's still a bit. All right, well, I'll work on it, and then we'll just deal with it. What's up, Josh? All right, cool. So we're on circuit breakers and switches. All right, so checking out down here, all my circuit breakers are pushed in. All right, so lots of buttons down here. They're really just circuit breakers. It doesn't really do a whole lot, but those will pop if you have some kind of electrical overload. All right, so that's good. Electrical equipment is off. Avionics bus switches 1 and 2 are off. Right, that's right here. All right, fuel selector valve on both. So I come down here and it's on both. And then fuel shutoff valve is off. All right, starting engine. So throttle control, open 1/4 inch. Here we go. It's watchable now. Make mic louder. Yeah, I'll make the mic louder. There we go. I thought it was a little too loud, but there we go. All right, cool. Throttle control is open 1/4 inch. Mixture, we're going to go full lean. All right, now idle cutoff. Standby battery switch we're going to test, so I'm getting my green light, and I'll hold that down for about 10 seconds and make sure that it doesn't go off. We're just testing the charge of the battery, so it's good. All right, standby bat switch is coming to arm. Here we go. Engine indicating system, check parameters, verify no red X's. All right, so we're looking down here. I got red on engine oil temperature, but that's okay. Bus E volts. I'm down here, I'm above 24. Good. M-bus volts, verify 1.5 or less. M-bus volts, and we're at 0, so that's good. All right, bat S amps, verify it's negative. There's my negative in the bat S. All right. Standby bat annunciator, verify annunciator is shown. That's right over here. Looks good. All right, propeller area clear. So here's where I look around. Is this dude on his phone? What you doing there, guy? Or girl? I don't know. I think I just assumed his gender or her gender. Probably gonna get in trouble now. All right, prop area is clear. Master switch is coming on. That's right here. And so that's our alternator and battery switch. Beacon switch is gonna come on. That's going to be this one right here. By the way, I'm using my Alpha Flight Sim honeycomb yoke, and I just have all the buttons, basically the bindings that were native to that just came with the yoke. I'm just using that, and it seems to work great, especially for the Cessna. All right, magneto switch start. So I'm going to go to start on my magneto switch, and then I'm also going to start adding some mixture in as we start up. So here we go. And it started. Mixture is going to go full rich. Cool, so now our engines are started. Tells us to check oil pressure. And usually oil pressure and oil temperature aren't going to be, yeah, clear prop. Yeah, I did that, Manny, don't worry. So usually my oil pressure and temperature are going to be a little below the green right now. Once we start going here, it'll come up to in the green. All right, amps, we're going to check MBAT and BAT S, verify charge is positive. Looking down here, we're G2G. All right, cool. Low volts annunciator, check. Verify it's not shown, it's not. All my alerts are right here, so if I have any alerts, they'll pop up right here, and I don't have any, so we're good. All right, nav light switch, we're not going to be using that. Avionics bus 1 and 2 switch is on. Now once we do this, then I can start popping these out. Yeah, come on. I'll pull them down here into my Cougar MFDs. Nice. All right, cool. Avionics switches are on. So we're good to go on that. Press this little button right here. And okay. All right, starting with external power, we're not doing that. Before takeoff. All right, so we'll do our before takeoff check on the runway. Sorry, on the taxiway, just shy of the runway. Before we do that, we can go ahead and get our flight plan going. So you can do your flight plan right here on the pilot's primary flight display here, but I'm going to come over here because I think it's a little easier. I get a little bit bigger of a screen. By the way, I don't have live weather on. Force feedback joystick called the Rhino. Not familiar, no, Norman, never heard of it. So I'm going to go ahead and get my flight plan set up here. So we're going to use a combination of navigation today. We're going to be using GPS, we're going to be using ground-based radio nav aids, and also just visual flight. So let's see here. Origin. We're going to punch in. I'm going to go down to where I can start punching stuff in here, and we'll put in, oops, K RHP, which is where we're currently at. Oops. Come on, man. Alright, so KRHP, this is in Andrews, and it says runway, what is, I think I got like clear skies and calm wind, so we'll just do runway 26 here, okay? There actually is a little bit of a storm cell coming in, so I don't have the live weather on. Alright, en route. So now I got 2 points en route, so the first one is an NDB. Now this NDB, alright, the Daisy NDB, I'm going to tune it up in my automatic direction finder, but I can also just put in Daisy right here, or I could put in CQN, it doesn't matter. So let's just do waypoint Daisy. But you're going to see this is for the GPS coordinates for that NDB, right? There's actually a little antenna sticking up out of the ground that's shooting out a radio signal, but it also has GPS coordinates. Holy crap. Oh, nice. Yeah, I'll check that out, Norman. Daisy. Alright, almost done with this flight plan here. There's Daisy. Enter. It says Japan. No, I want Southwest US. That one. Okay, that didn't work out. Let's it's not what I wanted. Hang on a second here. Yes, Daisy. Don't want that. Okay, let's just do CQN. That'll be easier. I'm not sure why it wouldn't let me do Daisy, but this will definitely work. There we go. CQN. And I don't want Daisy. I'm going to clear that. Yes. Okay, next, after CQN, I've got, what is it, RQZ. So we'll do RQZ, and then we'll put Huntsville. I'm hoping we'll get to see like some of the rockets and stuff when we fly into Huntsville. I'm not really too familiar with the area. I actually drove through Huntsville quite a few times, but you know, like on the interstate, you see one of the, I think it's like the Saturn V rocket or whatever. All right, so there's our flight plan, but we also need a destination, right? So this is going to be KHSV for Huntsville. Oops. DIY, not FIY. Alright guys, cool. So we are G2G, and let's land, we'll just land runway, we'll look for 18 left, looks like the closest on our route here. So we'll just put that in our flight plan. So the flight plan is good to go. But now I need to tune in some of these nav aids as well, right? So here it says ADF DME. All right, that's for automatic direction finder and distance measuring equipment. So I put in a GPS coordinate for CQN, but it also has this frequency 341, right? So I got to go, let's see, I got to go to 0, 3. My house plus Rob's Bear might be, what? NDB, non-directional beacon. I don't know what you're talking about there, IST John. Alright, so there's 341. Now we're going to enter to transfer. We put it in a standby and then we enter to transfer and it swaps it over. Alright. Now also my VOR up here, I'm going to put in that VOR freak. Now I'm probably not going to be picking these up for a little while, right? Because they're radio-based nav aids. So this says rocket VOR is 112.2 and I can just use my, oh yeah, use my MFD here. This is so awesome. Alright, 112.2 and it looks like, did I put the right one in there? Okay, this is saying it's like a sugar something or whatever. That's not correct. So according to this, 112.2, yeah, it should be the right thing. So I don't know. All right, so I'm done with this stuff. Now on my CDI, this is where you can change from a few different nav sources. You can have GPS, or you can have whatever is in these frequencies up here. So first VOR and second VOR. You can also tune up localizers in these, right? Localizers for like an ILS approach. All right. Basically, you steal Rob's beer, John. Glad to see you guys are already having fun. I'm not there yet, Manny. I'm about to set my altimeter. I got to get ATIS and all that, bro. All right. So speaking of, it's not ATIS. It'd be like an ASOS. So you can, or AWAS in this case. So you can tap on the airport in ForeFlight, but it also is just here on the VFR sectional. It says 119.675. So let's put that in here. All right, and let's get the latest and greatest ATIS, or in this case, AWAS.
Romeo Hotel Papa, automated weather observation 2000 Zulu. Wind calm. Visibility niner. Sky condition clear. Temperature 15C dew point, 13C altimeter 29992.
29992, sweet.
Romeo Hotel Papa, automated weather observation 2000 Zulu.
Okay.
Wind calm. Visibility.
So
niner.
cool. I don't even need to. Altimeter's already set. 29992. It says 1,700 feet, and if I look right here, it says 1699 on the VFR sectional. So it looks like we are good to go. All right. I'm getting the same indication over here on my standby altimeter. So it's 29992. It's a perfect day. That's also considered a standard day, right? Also, 15 degrees Celsius. Standard day for weather. So we're looking good. Okay, so that's set, and then let's see, what else do I need to get? Put in the CTAF 122.8. All right, so I'm going to make some calls on my own, like that I would make in real life, but then I also have to play this little game here with the ATC from Microsoft Flight Simulator. All right, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and release my parking brake, and then we'll call taxi. All right, so let's see here. We'll pull up this. And we're departing to the west. I should probably just announce taxi first.
Hotel Papa, traffic, Cessna, Sierra, Papa 5.
I guess I got a female voice set on here. I don't know. All right, let's see. Looks like I'm clear off to the right. I think we're probably going to end up killing this guy. All right, let's see. And you're dead. All right, so I would make a call that would sound like Western Carolina Regional. This is a Snak Pak 51, and we're going to be coming out of parking, taking Alpha Taxiway for runway 26, Western Carolina Regional. All right, so We don't really need all this runway, but the prudent thing to do is to use as much runway as we can. Current magnetic heading and relative bearing to NDB. Magnetic bearing to NDB. What do you call me fat fingers for? Calling me fat fingers? Is that me? Alright, I got another little taxiway here. There's supposed to be some stuff over there. I don't know. Microsoft Flight Simulator did not render that. So we're going to the base of the runway, and then we'll do our before takeoff check. So typically, this is how I was trained at least. When does the bombing run start? Not in this little thing. Alright, so I'm going to come off and just face to the side here. That way if anybody comes up behind me, I'm not going to like blast them or anything. Alright, and I set my park and brake. Come back to checklist before takeoff. Park and brake set. Pilot and passenger seats back. Great. Seat belts, got it. Cabin doors are closed. Flight controls, check free and correct. So here, I'm going to go, like, make my yoke visible so you can see. Go all the way in. Let's see here. So as I go forward and back, you should be able to see. Now in the real airplane I'd be able to just look back and forth, but basically I'm just making sure that this elevator goes in the direction it's supposed to, right? You can technically, let's see if I can drop down a little bit. So you can actually rig these controls up the wrong way, right? And I guess it's happened before. Some maintenance guys, AMPs rigged up the flight controls the wrong way. And people take off, they try to pull back, and instead they're going forward. That would be a really bad day. Okay, so those are free and correct. Flight instruments, PFD, check. No red X's. I got no red X's over here. All right, altimeter is already set. Altitude select. So now we can go ahead and start setting up my altimeter, right? Or sorry, my flight director. So I'm going to set my altitude for, let's just do like 4,500. And we're going to be on, let's turn my flight director on. And we're going to be on, let's do GPS. So GPS for my roll command. And then vertical speed, I'm going to set that to like, I don't know, let's start with like 700-ish. That should be good. Cool, so my flight director is already set up. Now the flight director just gives you indications, right? So all this magenta stuff it's giving me, it's saying, hey, here's where you need to go, right? Put this yellow arrow up here on the magenta arrow and it'll give you your 700 foot per minute rate of climb. Now once I engage the autopilot, it'll just use trim, some of the trim actuators to do that for me. All right, so we'll be good to go. Cool, standby flight instruments, they are already set. Fuel quantity, yeah, I didn't really check to see how much fuel I was going to need, but here, let's go ahead and we'll just top ourselves off. Looks good. All right. Mixture control. It says rich, fuel selector valve, set to both. It is. Autopilot, engage. Yeah. Flight controls, verify autopilot. Pilot can be overpowered in both pitch and roll axes. Yep. Alright, all this is just autopilot stuff. Elevator trim control, throttle control, 1800 RPMs. Now we're going to check our engine here. So we're going to set this to 1800 RPM. And we're not going anywhere because I got the park and brake set. Now I'm going to test my magnetos. So right now I've got both the magnetos on, but we got to test both of them, right? And we're making sure that the drop does not exceed 175 RPM on either one, right? Or 50 RPM difference. So I'm going to go to just the left magneto, and we drop down like, what was that, about 100. Back to both. And then we'll go to the right magneto. About the same. So we're good to go. If one of those fails, then we're still flying, right? We just won't have quite as much power. All right, VAC indicator, we're good to go. It's in the green. Engine indications check. Everything looks good. Ammeters, voltmeters, annunciators. We got nothing. Throttle control. Let's see. Check idle. Idle works out. We don't stall, so we're good to go. The Cessna is quite Luxurious, yeah. So anybody who's actually flown a Cessna in real life knows that they're all pretty much have the crap beat out of them. And yeah, this one looks very nice and very well maintained. Probably brand new from the factory, but I hope you got a $500,000. All right, RPM 1,000 feet, or sorry, 1,000 RPM or less. Looks good. Throttle control, friction lock, it's good. Comm frequencies are already set. Nav frequencies, FMS flight plans. Yeah, I did all that before I left the parking pad. I think that was a better time to do that. Altimeter, we're going to go, or sorry, my transponder, I'm going to go on altitude reporting. We're squawking VFR. The code for VFR is 1200, and we have altitude reporting on, so we're good to go. All right, and then CDI, soft key, select nav source. I've already got that set to GPS. Now, one thing I am going to do here is on my PFD options, I'm going to put up bearing 1 on, I'll put it on nav 1, and bearing 2 is going to go up ADF. Now I'm not getting anything right now because those are the frequencies I tuned in here, that rocket VOR, which should not say shug, I don't know what that is, and then also the ADF NDB frequency 341. So hopefully when I get off the ground and I get closer to them, I'm going to start picking up some little blue needles over here. Alright, cool. I think we are about ready to go. So normal takeoff, wing flaps, 10 degrees preferred. I'm not going to use any flaps today. Throttle control full, mixture rich, above 3,000. You can lean it a little bit, that's fine. Elevator control, climb airspeed 70, wing flaps retract. Cool. Alright, so I'm coming up on ForeFlight here. Let me get a better view. Oh, okay. This looks good. Parking brakes coming released. And clear left. Alright, I'll come up to the hold short line and I'll make a quick call.
Approaching runway 26.
Oh, I don't know if you heard that. Did you guys hear that? Runway, the iPad talking to me? Alright, and we're taking off to the west. So, Western Carolina Regional Snak Pak 51 is going to be taking runway 26, departure to the west. And be climbing 4,500 feet, Western Carolina Regional.
Kilo Romeo Hotel Papa traffic Cessna Sierra Papa 5.
Alright, as I take the runway.
26 departure to the west.
Yeah, you heard it. Alright, so I'm going to look left, look right, make sure
runway 26.
everything's clear.
5,400 feet remaining.
Okay, great, thanks. Alright, I'm trying to do a couple things at once here. Alright, cool. Now as I take to the runway, I'm looking at my bottom left PFD there. Oop, come on. And I'm looking that my heading is correct. It's matching what runway I'm on. I'm also looking at my standby instrument here, my standby mag compass. Looks good. Once I apply throttle, I'm going to apply full throttle, and I'm going to be looking to make sure my oil temperature and oil pressure, which are really just here on my bottom right MFD, oil pressure and oil temperature go in the green, and my airspeed comes alive. All right, so here we go. Taking off. Full throttle. Controlling my heading with the pedals down here. Trying to maintain center line. The sight picture for center line in a Cessna is really just line it up with the center of your screen there, your attitude indicator. You don't have a glass cockpit. Alright, and I'm going to start rotating, pulling gently back on the yoke. There we go. I'm going to start adjusting my trim a little bit. Alright. Now, if I engage autopilot right now, you can see on my flight plan, either by looking on that bottom right MFD, or you can look on ForeFlight, it's really the same thing. See, if I engage autopilot right now, it's going to take me right to get back on my course. But as you can see, off to the right, there's some mountains. It's going to start taking me over this way. I don't really want to do that just yet. I want to make sure I can get over these mountains first. Up, up, and away. Now, looking at my MFD down on the left, you can see there's a blue arrow now. That blue arrow is pointing exactly where the GPS is pointing. and that is now pointing to the ADF. The difference is that is pointing to the ground-based nav aid. It's shooting out a radio signal, versus the magenta line down there is pointing towards the actual GPS coordinates for the CQN NDB. Now, NDBs are like the oldest version of ground-based nav aids, right? They give you the least amount of stuff. I'm going to go ahead and engage my autopilot here. I'll let it kind of take the reins. So it'll start getting us back on course. I could just re-engage the flight plan, but we'll just let it get us back on course. That's fine. Be right on that line. All right, so it's climbing us up to 4,500. And we'll just look on the bottom left MFD there. So I have a vertical speed engaged, right? 700 feet per minute. Now my airspeed right now is at 70, and that's actually a pretty good guess. 70 knots is like pretty much what we want. If I wanted to climb a little faster, I could kind of start leaning out my mixture, and I'll probably just go ahead and do that now, even though it's part of the cruise level off check. What is the most realistic game flight model for helis in your opinion? I don't know, man. All right, clear left. I'll say that the UH-60 and DCS is stunningly accurate, but the actual flight controls, the way it handles, is a little laggy, I guess. But the helicopters in Microsoft Flight Simulator are pretty awesome too. I've never flown the Bell 406 in real life, but flying it in Microsoft Flight Simulator, I heard a lot of people complaining about it, like, oh, this thing's a piece of crap and it doesn't fly right, and I think it's just because they don't understand how to fly a helicopter. And, you know, like a Blackhawk has a lot of really awesome systems that make it very intuitive to fly. So when I pull up collective on a Blackhawk in real life, I don't yaw to the right. It just keeps me dead straight. But in a Bell 406, it doesn't have all those advanced systems, so the whole thing yaws to the right. And I did a video just on helicopter basics where I talk about why it does that, you know. But I think a lot of people get stuck in, like, they don't really know what they're doing, and so they just hate the Bell 406 because it doesn't handle as intuitively as a more advanced helicopter. All right, so it leveled us off at 4,500, right? Now you see it switched over while I was talking. It switched over from vertical speed mode to altitude hold mode, all right? And most Garmin equipment works relatively the same. The first helicopter I ever trained on was a H-145, and it had a Garmin 430 in it. And it's a very similar system. That's why when I started playing around, I've actually never flown a G1000 in real life. All the Cessnas I've flown have just been like steam gauges and none of this glass cockpit stuff. So, all right, so at this point, we're going to do our level off checklist. Let's see here. En route climb. Yeah, we already did that. Cruise. No more than 75% power recommended. We're just going to make sure that it stays within this little green arc here. So we'll pull back on our power. All right, elevator trim control adjust. I don't need to because I got my flight director set. It's already doing that for me. So you can see down here, my trim wheel. This is what I usually manipulate to keep myself level. And when you manipulate a trim wheel, what's actually happening is there is a, let's see if I can zoom in on it. There's a little tab right, ooh, there it was, right here on the elevator. And when you manipulate that trim wheel, it's actually moving that little tab up and down. And it's doing it just enough to where it reduces the pressure on the yoke, right? So if I am trying to climb, or let's say I'm just trying to maintain my altitude, and I'm having to just like constantly pull back on the yoke to maintain, that means I just need to trim up my elevator a little bit. And then eventually it'll release pressure, and then you don't have to do anything. So it just reduces pilot workload. Now the autopilot system is just moving that trim wheel to keep me level. So you can see it's kind of just making little adjustments. All right, cool. Let's see, mixture control lean. So this is where you can get yourself into trouble. So you got to be really careful, right? What I want is the maximum RPM that I can get with this current throttle setting, right? So at my altitude, 4,500, I know I'm going to need a little less fuel because the air up here is a little less dense. So when I manipulate throttle, I'm changing the total charge of power going into the engine, right? The charge of fuel and air, right? But the mixture is going to reduce the amount of fuel per air percentage. If you want to, that's not the most eloquent way I could say it, but basically it's pulling less fuel out of the mixture of fuel and air. So as I pull back nice and slow, we want to see my RPM go up, and it stopped right about there. If I go full rich, you're going to see it kind of decrease a little bit. There's too much fuel per air in the mixture there, right? But if I start to lean it out a little bit, you'll see my RPMs will start going up. 2260, very slowly pulling back, looking for 2270 if I can get it. There it is, maybe 2280. Nope, that was about right about there is about the best we're going to get. And then I push it in about another centimeter or so. If we pull this all the way out, we're going to kill the engine. And as you can see out here in the mountains, Appalachian Mountains, not really a lot of good places to land. So, all right, trim is my autopilot. Yeah, again, I've never flown a Cessna with autopilot in real life, or any kind of airplane with real autopilot. Now with helicopters, I did fly, like I said, I trained on the H-145, and that has a pretty good autopilot system. And then I trained on the UH-60 Mike model, which has a really awesome autopilot system. But then out of flight school, when I went to my first unit, I was on UH-60 Limas, which had 0 autopilot. Had some automatic flight control systems that made it easier to fly, made it more intuitive, like we were talking about. But I flew Limas for several years without any autopilot. Then I came back to UH-60 Mikes, and that's what I currently fly. And it's like going from, I don't know, going from a really old car to like a space shuttle. It's like a totally different ball game. But yeah, the UH-60 Mike has a very impressive autopilot system. And it'll basically, you just take off and then you push some buttons and it'll fly your whole flight plan for you all the way until you get to your destination. Then you just have to land it. So, if you so choose. Yeah, fully certified to fly H-145, commercially rated. It's not on my license. I gotta look up the licensing and how that works, but I definitely have S-70 rotorcraft instrument and commercial on there. S-70 is the civilian version of a freaking Black Hawk. So 10-4, that's what I'm looking at. Yeah. Okay, cool. So moving on to what we were talking about earlier. We've got a, I'm going to increase this airspeed just a little bit. So we've got this NDB, the Daisy NDB. And now you can see that needle. See, I'm going to get 2 needles eventually, right? One of them looks like just one thin line and the other one has like the thicker line. That's what this needle's pointing to, all right? And it's pointing to the exact same spot that the GPS is pointing to. Now, if I want to listen to it, I can just type ADF right here. I can click this, and then I should be hearing this Morse code right here. So it should sound like beep, 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 beep. I can barely hear it. It's really soft. There you go. I'm not sure if you guys could hear that. It's super soft. But that's how we tune and identify that we have the correct nav aid. Alright, looks like we're going to get some more mountains up here. I think we're going to clear them. We should be good. I'm going to look on my profile view right here on ForeFlight. Let's make sure. Yeah, we're going to clear that stuff. We'll be good to go. So, a good pilot is always trying to stay ahead of the aircraft, right? So let's see. I'm going to be flying into through Cleveland Regional's airspace here. All right, now it's just a Class Echo. I don't have to say anything if I don't want to, but there might be some other traffic flying in there, and I don't want to. I want to be a jerk. I want to fly friendly, right? So they're on 122.7. So I'm going to put that in my comm frequency here. So when you tune up comm frequencies, I'm using my MFDs here, but basically in a Garmin, any kind of Garmin device, you're going to use this knob right here. See how I have a little blue box around this frequency? I have two comm radios here, right? Two VHF radios. The top one is my primary, and that's what I am talking on right here, because I have this little arrow on COM 1 mic, and I'm listening to it as well, right? So I put 122.7. You use this big knob to change the first 3 digits, and then use the little knob to change the last 3 digits. But this is in the standby, right? You can only change frequencies in standby. So to swap them, I push the swap button, and now there we go, 122.7. Oh, that was a CTAF. Wait. Whose CTAF is this? I guess this is Kilo Foxtrot Golf Uniform. Where is that? Kilo Foxtrot Golf Uniform. FGU. Way down here. It looks like their AWAS is the same as the CTAF over here at Cleveland Regional. That's dumb. I don't know why they would do that. Okay, well anyway. I'm not gonna talk to them, but maybe I would make a quick call. Just, hey, Cleveland Regional, Cape 51, or Snak Pak 51. Snak Pak 51 is going to be crossing through the airspace east to west, maintaining 4,500, Cleveland Regional. And I wouldn't do that just yet. I'm pretty far out. Now, also, I've got this big Class Charlie airport, right? This is Chattanooga, and you can see how this NDB is actually in the shelf of this Class Charlie airspace, right? From 22 to 4,700 feet MSL. So I'm at 4,500 feet MSL. If I maintain this altitude, I got to talk to somebody to be able to enter into there, right? So it says contact Chattanooga approach within 20 nautical miles. And let's just do a quick little guess here. Looks like right as I'm passing through Cleveland Regional, I need to be up with Chattanooga approach. But let's just look at a local airport. We'll see, this is Atlanta approach. So I should be on Atlanta approach 133.1. I guess they want me on Knoxville approach 123.9. We'll go 123.9. All right, 123. 123.9, we'll swap that over. And one thing that is not required for flying VFR, but is highly recommended, is to get yourself some VFR flight following. In the civilian world, you can pick up your airplane and basically fly wherever you want, VFR, not talk to anybody. You don't have to file a flight plan. In the military, you have to file a flight plan for every flight, but civilian world, you don't have to do all that. But it's highly recommended. So I probably would have filed a flight plan through ForeFlight, which is super easy to do. And then we'll get up with VFR flight following. Yeah, I'll definitely be doing helicopter approaches, Manny. Don't worry about that. I'm waiting for a good UH-60 mic to come out for Microsoft Flight Simulator. But I'll definitely do one in the H-145. It's just been like 5 years since I've flown the 145, so I played around with it a little bit in MSFS. And I'm just trying to remember where everything is, how to use the autopilot, how to do all that stuff. So I'll definitely be doing that stuff in the future. I got to get into the owner's manual, or operator's manual, and get actually legit remember how to fly that thing before I start doing instructional videos on it. All right, so my flight following call would sound like Knoxville approach, Snak Pak 51 is, let's see, approximately 10 miles north of, what's this airport? 10 miles north of Martin Campbell Field, en route to Huntsville, request VFR flight following. And they'll give me a squawk code, and got 130 hours, and I don't ever. Yeah, flight plans, you know, You don't always have to file them. It's not a big deal. Now for IFR, you have to file a flight plan, right? Okay, so we'll go ahead and get some flight following. Here we go, request flight following, and then they'll give me a squawk code here, and I'll put it in my transponder. So we can go ahead and get ready for that. Transponder, we'll get ready for whatever code they're going to give me.
Knoxville approach Cessna Sierra Papa 51 is type Cessna Skyhawk 10 miles east of Niner, 2 Alpha 4,500 feet. Request flight following.
That's my female co-pilot. I don't know where she's at.
Papa 51 Knoxville approach. Squawk 0745.
0745.
Cessna Papa 51 radar contact 9 miles east of Niner 2 Alpha 4,500 feet. Altimeter 29.92.
Okay.
Roger Cessna Papa 51.
Papa 51. All right, cool. The 51, if you're curious, is part of my military call sign. But I want to be Snak Pak. So the reason, I could put Snak Pak instead of SP51. I can have that on, I know that like in the settings you can change that. But like every time ATC calls me, they'd be like Sierra Papa Alpha Kilo, and it's like ridiculous. So I just shortened it a little bit. All right, so once we hit the CQN ADF, and we can look, and it says, let's see, ETA destination is in about an hour and 10 minutes. But ET to the next thing is about 19 minutes. Whew. All right, cool. I picked a long flight, so we got a lot of stuff that we can talk about in the meantime. I'm going to increase my airspeed a little bit. So here's a question. Who can answer? Who can riddle me this? My wind, I have a 2-knot headwind. My indicated airspeed's 100 knots. Now it's like, yeah, about 1 or 2 knot headwind. So my ground speed should be like 98, 99 knots, but ground speed says 108 knots over here. Same thing on ForeFlight. If you look at the bottom of my ForeFlight, 108 knots. I think somebody just flew by me. I don't know. I think somebody's trolling me over here. Anyways. Alright, so who can riddle me that? Why is my ground speed reading 109 knots when I have a headwind? Anybody? Bueller? (103), ground speed's 111. So here's why. Because something called true airspeed. So I'm going to show you on my E6B, which this thing, I still use this all the time. Alright. Wish I had knowledge know that. You're about to, Manny. Here we go. Alright, so this E6B, guys, you can buy real ones that are like made of metal, and they, I don't know, probably cost like $5 or $10, but this is an app that I paid. There's a free version of it. I paid like $2 for the pro version because it does some cool stuff. But yeah, here we go. IST John's going on it. Barometric pressure and temperature, exactly. So we come over here. We have an adjustment window for true airspeed. So I can move this around. Now I want to put it on my current temperature. And the current temperature is reading 11 degrees. If you look on the bottom of this left-hand MFD, way down on the bottom left here, 11 degrees Celsius. And I'm currently at 4,500 feet, right? So I got temperature on the top and then altitude on the bottom. So I need to put my 12 degrees Celsius, which is that first little, or the first large hash mark just to the right of the top 0. Should be just to the right of that. And I need to stick that right at about 4,500 feet. Now I can come up to the top and I can read on the inner ring. I can find, where are we at, 105 knots. I find that on my inner ring, and then I read up from there, and then it says 105. Actually, that's going to be about 109 knots true airspeed. Yeah, it didn't really work out as well as I thought. Usually this is a little more accurate. Did I go the right way? Oh, that's because I went the wrong way. I did negative, so here we go. Let's fix this here. So 12 degrees right there. There we go. Now if I find my currently reading 105 knots, I come up, now it says about 113. The aircraft is telling me my true airspeed is 115, close enough. So true airspeed. Up here at altitude, guys, the air is far less dense. When we're on the ground, you have the entire weight of the whole atmosphere on top of us, right? So that's one atmosphere. But as you start climbing up through the atmosphere, you have less of the atmosphere on top of you, meaning the pressure is less, right? So the air is less dense up here. That's why we had to pull our mixture back, right? Because we needed less fuel in the mixture because there's less air. And then also, if we look over here, you can probably see it. Well, let's come outside. Right here we got the little pitot tube. So that pitot tube, that is what's giving me my indicated airspeed, right? That's what's sensing the airspeed. So there's air that's hitting that tube, and then it's picking up on that, and it uses the little physics formula for force, right? Force equals mass times acceleration. So it's picking up how much air mass is hitting it, and then it's picking up how fast it's hitting it, the acceleration. And then that's using that formula to tell me, basically compute my airspeed, right? But the pitot tube doesn't know what altitude we're at. It just knows how fast the air is hitting it and how much it's hitting it. So it's telling me, yeah, your airspeed is 105 knots. However, when we make the adjustment for temperature and altitude, pressure altitude, 4,500 feet, that's where we get, that's how we calculate our true airspeed. And then from there, we can take our winds, right? What are the winds doing to us right now? Well, there's only a 2-knot headwind, so it's going to be true airspeed minus 2 knots is going to give us our ground speed. So it should be like 112. And we look over here, sure enough, 112 ground. Right? So this stuff's important for calculating fuel, like required fuel and time, right? How much time is it going to take to make a flight? If you have a specific downtime you have to make, you might want to think about, okay, well, what altitude should I fly at? What's best for the winds? All right, coming back to ForeFlight here. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and request a Class Charlie airspace transition. I guess they're just there's not really an option. Maybe it'll give it to me here shortly, but I'm up flight following, so whatever. I'm just listening to them, and they'll probably switch me over to Chattanooga approach here. So Knoxville approach will hand me off to Chattanooga approach. 125.1 is what we can expect. So since I know I can expect that, I'll go ahead and put it in my standby. 25.1. Cool. So I've got it in my standby frequency now. You can look over here on the MFDs as well. And then whenever they call me, we'll just transfer over. Also, if you guys are curious about how accurate Microsoft Flight Simulator is, we're going to go north up here. I'll show you something cool. So there is satellite view. Let's come over here. Let's compare. So if you're seeing all these little details, I mean, that's pretty awesome, man. Pretty awesome. I know I've heard people give Microsoft Flight Simulator a lot of flack, but I mean, look at all the detail. It's like exactly what's on the satellite imagery here. So it's pretty cool. I'm a fan. All right, Cleveland Regional Airport. I should be able to see it probably. Let's scoot over to the other seat here. Hey, there it is. I'll probably make another CTAF call here. Word. Okay. So now it's saying I'm picking up the RQZ VOR, but it's still not displaying on my map or on my CDI here. So I should be getting another needle. It's just not picking it up. So it recognizes what it is. The system recognizes it, but I'm still too far away. So as we cross over, you're going to see the GPS is going to turn slight left, right? Once we cross over this next waypoint. The next leg says the course is 259, right? So we can expect this magenta, it's the purple, but we call it magenta needle, is going to come left to a 259, probably right about, yeah. All right, and then the autopilot, since we're on GPS hold, it'll just start turning us, right? But the blue needle is the ADF needle. That is pointing towards this ADF, right? Or towards this NDB. So that thing's going to swing around and start pointing behind us, right? It should be pointing pretty much directly to a 6 o'clock. And we'll be tracking it outbound on a bearing of, what was that, 259? A bearing of 259, leading away from the ADF. Now, let's do, I'm going to P-sync my heading, and then I'm going to go to heading hold for a second. Because the CDI, I want you to see something. The CDI, here's our GPS, right?
Papa 5-1 contact Atlanta Center on 132.05. Good day.
All right, 132.05. Okay.
132.05 for Cessna Papa 5.
Guess I was wrong. 132.05. Boop. Put that in the primary, and then let's contact them. So,
Atlanta Center, Cessna Sierra Papa 5-1, 4,500 feet.
Cessna Sierra Papa 5-1 Atlanta Center altimeter 29.9, 2 continue as planned.
okay, continue as planned. Do I have to acknowledge that? Okay, great. Cool. So, all right. Yeah, like I was saying, as soon as we cross over that NDB, so we're tracking it outbound. And I can't remember what I was saying there, but all right. So Chattanooga. So to fly in Chattanooga's airspace, Chattanooga is a Class Charlie airport. So I need to make sure I'm up with their approach, because I got to get a clearance through the Class Charlie airspace. And I'm already flight following, so they should be talking to me here soon. But if not, I would in real life, I would already be telling them my intentions. Like, yeah, just want to fly to the Daisy NDB and proceed southwest towards Marion County, direction of Marion County. And I'll remain in the outer shelf at 4,500. And then they'll be like, yeah, or nay, right? They'll tell me, yep, you're cleared, you can do that. Or they'll say, hey, listen, I got like, 15 flights inbound right now on the ILS jumbo jets and stuff. So like, I need you to divert. I need you to get out of my airspace, right? Because you're a bother. Little Cessna is just clogging up their airspace, and I'm just in the way. Yo, what up, VR Sim Pilot? Sorry, I'm not in VR today. Oh yeah. Imagine flying without ForeFlight. I was not a believer in ForeFlight when I started my aviation career. Sup, Steven? When I started my aviation career, I did not have ForeFlight. I did have a little iPad, an older iPad, but I was using some of the free apps. There was one called WingX Pro that we got in the military for free. It did a lot of the same stuff. I mean, I had a moving map and all that, but it was when I got deployed to Germany during COVID, actually, right when COVID kicked off. That's when I got deployed to Germany for about 9 months, and did a European tour for Operation Atlantic Resolve. And the apps we had just weren't cutting it for Europe. Their maps are a lot different. Their regulations are a little different. they actually have VFR corridors at every airport you have to follow, right? You can't just like come in willy-nilly and be like, hey, I'm coming in, you know, whatever tower, you know, left base, runway 24 or whatever. They actually have corridor waypoints that you have to follow coming into every airport. And Germany, listen, I love Germany. It's a really beautiful country, and the people there are pretty cool, and their food is amazing. But their airspace regulations are ridiculous. They're so dumb, and I don't know. I was not a I was not a big fan of their regulations. However, that's when I ended up getting ForeFlight because I needed it. Hey, crap. Do I sound any different? I actually had my Bose A20 off this whole time. Okay. Anyways, I actually I needed ForeFlight. You had to get that or this other app called Sky Demon for the European, or really it was just like the German, mainly German maps and stuff. Because the other apps we were using just weren't cutting it. So that's when I got ForeFlight, and I've been addicted to it ever since. Germans being strict? Yeah. Let's see. ForeFlight became so essential last week. Your Stratus quit. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, ForeFlight is definitely awesome. But they know that pilots usually make decent paycheck. They know it, and they charge you accordingly for your annual subscription. I've also got the military flight bag. I don't know if you guys know, have ever seen this or not. Some of you guys have never seen it, but I have all the DoD flip and stuff. So this is like our planning documents. We have the general planning guide, and let's see here, like the area planning guide. So that's DoD flight information publications that I'm also required to have. But anyways, just additional stuff. Okay, I'm coming into this class Charlie. Are they gonna like, I don't know. One of the things about Microsoft Flight Simulator that's just not, I don't think they can really make it any more realistic, is the ATC, because ATC is such a fluid thing in real life. Like, you know, a lot of times they're just like, hey, say your intentions, or you know, they'll ask you to do stuff. Sometimes they'll ask you for help, like, hey, when you get to that airport, can you check and see if this call sign is there? Because like we haven't talked to them in a while. We went lost commo. Can you help us out? All right, there I am in the class Charlie. So again, we needed to get a clearance, but we're with flight following, so I guess they're just like, yeah, you're clear. And also need to have our transponder with altitude reporting, and it is, right? And we had that little code that they gave us on altitude reporting. And then we have weather requirements, ceiling and visibility requirements. So I need 3 statute miles of visibility. Looks like I got that. And then you have to be at least 500 feet below the clouds, right? 1,000 feet above them, or 2,000 feet horizontally. Well, there's not a cloud in the sky, so that's nice. Yeah, and by the way, there actually is a pretty decent little system coming through. This is the live radar. So I turned live weather off because I already kind of had this little route planned for the timing, and because they had some cool nav aids that I wanted to talk about. So anyways, I just turned live weather off, or else we'd be instruments. All right, cool. So now we're going to start to see what I was telling you about earlier with the ADF needle. All right, we are 1.8 miles away. The GPS should turn me probably a little bit early, but you're going to see this runway 26 to CQN is going to change from CQN to RQZ, which is our next waypoint. It'll recalculate the timing, the direct track, bearing, whatever. Lost visual on ForeFlight. Snak Pak. Uh-oh. All right, let's just pause here for a second. Why come that went off? Air server. There we go. Cool, thanks for the heads up. What is this? Oh, there we go. All right. Appreciate the heads up there. All right, so now you see this needle flipping around? That's what I was talking about. That's the ADF needle. It's pointing towards the actual NDB on the ground here. And then here comes my GPS. Goes to a 259. It's going to turn me to the left. Oh, I'm on heading hold. Whoops. Go up back on nav hold. All right, so it's going to turn me to the left here, and now that or the NDB is behind us. So remember, the actual nav aid on the ground is called a non-directional beacon, but we need the automatic direction finder is what finds that NDB by tuning in the frequency 341.
Contact Chattanooga approach on 119.2. Good day.
1192. Yeah.
Going to 119.2 Cessna Papa 51.
Uh-oh. Alright, 1192 going in standby and going into the current. And let's call them up. What's up, Chattanooga?
Approach Cessna Sierra Papa 51, 4,500 feet.
Cessna Sierra Papa 51 Chattanooga approach altimeter 29.9 continue as planned.
Continue as planned. Cool. Alright, and now just like we predicted before, we have our GPS needle pointing to, well, I said 259, but it looks like heading's on a 260. It looks like the wind's pushing us just a little bit to the left. Yeah, the bearing's actually 259. And now we're going CQN to RQZ. That's the direct bearing between those two, right? And that's, let's see if that matches what ForeFlight told us, right? Yeah, 259. So that's good, and the ADF needle is pointing safely behind us. Now soon, we should be getting our nav on here. Alright, well hopefully we get to RQZ VOR here pretty soon. So, oh, thanks guys, you're so nice. I wanted to do a German tour, but they sent you to Korea. IST John, I didn't know. I thought you were a civilian dude. Are you active duty? Oh yeah, I think you had told me you were prior military, right? Nice. Hey, thanks VR Sim Pilot and Manny. I hope you guys are enjoying a little bit of instruction. I think this format is awesome. Whoops. Yeah, I think this format is awesome. Being able to have all this stuff up on digits and tricking ForeFlight into thinking I'm really flying in real life. It's pretty cool. All right, now here is a giant freaking tower that's 575 feet AGL. So remember, when you see these obstructions, the first number is going to be an MSL figure, but the in parentheses will be AGL. That's really the only thing I can think of off the top of my head that's ever printed in AGL on a VFR sectional. My helicopters all have radar altimeters in addition to barometric altimeters, so I can see exactly how high off the ground I am. But most civilian aircraft are just going to be, especially like a little GA aircraft, is only going to be equipped with a barometric altimeter. So as long as I have my altimeter set correctly, then I know I'm clear of that tower, right? Oh yeah, hey, how the Eagles doing? My whole family's from Philly. I forgot to look at it. How are they doing? Are they on right now? Oh yeah. 88 Mike. Love me some 88 Mikes. Tied now 7-7, huh? What quarter are you in? All right, we're just gonna keep that going because we gotta pull up. Seven. All right, quarter two. Nice. Yeah, I haven't been keeping up with the Eagles as much as I would have liked to in recent years. but definitely was crazy to see him win the Super Bowl a couple years ago. Actually, my dad passed away like a few months before the Eagles won the Super Bowl a few years back, and was that back in 18? I guess. Yeah, it was back in 18 or 19. Yeah, 2019, I believe. In February is when they won the Super Bowl. But yeah, man, he'd been waiting his whole life, and then he passed away like a few months before they won. So it kind of sucked for him, but I know the city of Philadelphia, I was surprised it wasn't burnt down with the after party. Nice. All right, some beautiful rivers are flying over here. What river is this? South Pittsburgh. What? Should tell me what river this is. Oh, there's a nuclear power plant over there. It just says river. Ah, Tennessee River. The Tennessee River. So that makes sense. Does that go all the way up to... Yeah, cool. So it goes all the way up to land between the lakes, I think. Where's... No. I'm thinking of the Kentucky River way up here. Yeah, I'm thinking of Kentucky River and Lake Barkley. Yeah. So the Tennessee River. Just beautiful outside. Beautiful views. VR Sim Pilot, what was your message that you retracted? We all want to know. We all want to know. There's no... This is freedom of speech on this channel. You guys can say whatever you want. I usually don't say bad stuff just because I don't want YouTube to take away my monetization rating. Come on, VR Sim Pilot. Tell us what you said. Oh. Got the river name wrong. Cool. So this is kind of what we call VFR and chill. All right, I'm going to call up Marion County Brownfield 122.8. So I have two comm radios, all right? So check this out. I'm going to do my second one down here. So I'm going to be tuning this one up, 122.8. And I'll switch that, and then I'll talk on COM 2 as well. Let's see, here is it, I think it's this button that I have it set to. Which one did I have it set to? Well, okay, I think I got to rebind that. Anyways, if I come over here, now I'm listening to COM 2, but I'm still talking on COM 1. So if I click this, oh, there we go. Let me listen. I want to continue listening on COM 1. Just in case approach calls me back, all right? But now I'm talking on COM 2 and listening on COM 2. So now I could make a CTAF call. And Marion County Brownfield, this is Snak Pak 5-1, and we are approximately 5 miles to the northeast, and we'll be transitioning to the southeast, overflying the field 4,500, Marion County Brownfield. All right, and now I'll go back to talking on COM 1 in case ATC, yeah, my flight following calls me. Let's take a gander outside here. Oh yeah, that's gorgeous. Gorgeous. It's down here. I think it'd be really cool to like build a house on one of those little tiny islands right there, somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and have like a seaplane, and that's like the only way you can get there, or by a boat, I guess. But like have a little seaplane that's right, oops. All right. There we go. Yeah, look at that, like one of those little islands, just clear it out and just fly your little seaplane in. That's my dream. That's my dream, is to have an airplane, which I hopefully can buy one in the next couple of years. Maybe not for cash, but I'm saving up and moving some investments around. Hopefully, try to be able to afford an airplane. Just nothing as luxurious as this. It's probably going to be some beat up Piper, but something that can fly and is airworthy. But I looked into, in the future, like when I'm retired, like how much is it to build your own runway? You know, just a small little runway. And I mean, if you want asphalt, it's like $1 million. You know, but to build like a grass strip might be more approachable, but then, you know, if it's raining really bad, you know, you're not going to be able to use it. Okay, hey, it looks like our VOR, we just started picking up our VOR now, right? So I'm going to switch over here onto ForeFlight. Yeah, Piper, probably like a PA-28, something like that. Okay, so it's 122.2, and then here's the Morse code we're looking for, right? Again, if you know Morse code, this is just the Morse code for RQZ. But what we come, in order to listen to it, we got to come over here, and we're going to hit nav 1, and let's listen real close, because I can't remember how to turn up the volume on the nav aids, but let's listen to it. You guys hear it? You can hear the Morse code? Bum, 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 dun, 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 dun. There we go. Alright, so I've identified that, and now it says it's off a little bit to the left, so actually what the GPS is saying and what the VOR are saying are two slightly different things. Totally doable. Yeah. Didn't identify. What's up, Jason? My man, Jason. Jason Lacey, ladies and gentlemen. We're not going to talk about what he does, but he's a cool dude. Jason Lacey, I owe a lot to helping me get started in aviation. Really, really awesome guy. Honored to have you on my channel, buddy. So just tuning in, for those of you who are just tuning in, we are VFR, and we're going from, we started out over here at Western Carolina Regional up in the mountains, Smoky Mountains. And then we're just flying a Cessna 172 with the G1000 cockpit. And VFR, and we hit a couple nav aids on the way. So we had this NDB. It's currently on the bottom left here. On my bottom left MFD, you can see in my second needle, that's pointing behind us, and then the VOR is pointing in front of us. And it looks like the GPS waypoint for this VOR is like slightly different than the actual VOR. So like, I wonder if I can move this right here. Yeah. This is kind of weird. I've never really seen this on a VFR sectional before, where there's a GPS waypoint off-centered from a VOR, but they're calling it the same thing. So it's kind of weird. But if you have a, let's say I was IFR and I had a IFR compliant GPS, right? Some GPSs are not IFR compliant, believe it or not. But if I had an IFR compliant GPS, then I could use that to fix RQZ, and I'd be good to go, right? So I'm assuming if we look at HSV, our destination, I go to procedures here. No, maybe not. Let's see. I guess there's no approaches that really use that VOR. Ah, there we go. So there's a fix. Well, you can fix that and then use it as a feeder route to come in on the ILS here. But oh, hide that thing. Yeah, get out of here. What's going on here? There we go. So there's a little feeder that takes you in. But if I was in the clouds, let's say I was solid IMC, and I had a IFR compliant GPS, then I could use RQZ GPS waypoint to fix that. But if not, then I would have to use the ground-based nav aid signal, right? So here's another cool thing. Watch this. We're gonna P-sync our heading again. So here's my heading bug. I don't want it there. I want it to be right in front of me. If I just push in on the heading bug, now it switches it right to my 12 o'clock, exactly where I'm flying. And if I push heading, now it changed my autopilot mode from GPS to heading, right? So now I'm just flying on heading, and if I move this, you can see we're going to start turning left, or put it back to where it was. So now that I'm on heading hold, I'm free to change my CDI, right? My course deviation indicator on my Omni bearing selection. So let's change this to VOR 1. So you can see it's pointing to the right, right? It's not pointing to where the actual VOR is, but that's because of the course I have tuned in. So I use this little triangular knob here. Whoa. And if I move it to right where that blue needle is pointing, you're going to see that the course deviation indicator is going to come centered up. Here we go. I have to slam the door about 32 times to get it shut. Yeah, have you ever had the door come open on you, like on the taxiway? Okay, so you see that? Now when I line it up with that, now it's taking me right to the VOR. So now, since VOR is my nav source, if I go nav, watch this. It's going to turn me slight left. Maybe? I don't know. Autopilot's engaged. Well, it's keeping me on that course. Let's see if I do this. Yeah. So anyway, we're basically on course for the VOR. So it's not really changing anything. But now it's using the ground-based nav aid, right? The radio signal. The airplane is tuned up to that, and it's using that to navigate, right? The autopilot is, at least. So if I was flying by hand, I would just have to make sure that that course deviation indicator, which is that centered line right there, I have to make sure that stays centered. If it came off over to the right, I would bank right to go get back on that line, right? Oh geez, what's going on here? Oh geez, what just happened? I don't know what's happening. I think I like hit a button and screwed everything up. Oh god, oh god. Alright, get me back on here. Help me, baby Jesus. Alright, here we go. G2G. Yeah, Cessnas are, I think they're a lot of fun to fly, personally. But yeah, they definitely float, which is a good thing, if, especially for like novice pilots. Panic! Everybody panic! What is that? Yeah, unusual attitude recovery. Yeah, that's what that was. Good job, guys. So you can see now I'm navigating off the VOR, right? But if I just change, let's pull navigation hold off, and I change my nav source back to GPS. Hang on a second. Oh, geez. I don't know what I did here. Direct RQZ. Yeah, what is this cross-track thing? Huh. Well, okay, I guess we're going to have to go off VOR anyway. Not sure what I just did. Alright, VOR hold. We're good. And then I can get rid of this ADF needle. I don't really need that anymore, do I? Bye-bye. You gone now. So, check this out. If I want to get to HSV using the RQZ VOR, I tap on it, on this leg here. It says it's a course of 220. So what I'll do is, when I'm about to cross over the nav aid, all right, which is in like 41 miles, it's going to be a little while, I'll just change my course to 220, and then this little triangle right here is going to flip over back here. It's going to go to that's the to from indicator. That's going to flip back behind me, indicating that I'm flying away from the VOR.
Cessna Papa Flight 1, contact Memphis approach on 128.15.
Memphis approach. 12815.
128.15.
Whoa, geez.
Cessna Papa 51.
12815. Going into standby. And swapped. All right, let's contact Memphis approach. What's up?
Memphis approach Cessna Sierra Papa 51, 4,500 feet.
I'd like to see this co-pilot I have here.
Flight 1, Memphis approach altimeter 29.9, continue as planned.
Okay, continuous planned. Cool. So basically VFR and chill, guys. Super easy. So yeah, we'll definitely do the helicopter one on the next one. That'll be a little more challenging because some of the controls on I'll definitely use the H145, but I gotta get back in the operator's manual. Remember how the autopilot works and everything. It's similar to what we have here, but the one the little GPS setup in the H145 it's different from the one I used when I flew the H145. Oh yeah, 14.7 Eagles. Hell yeah. All right, I'll tell you what. Just for right now. Is that, wait. No, that's not the right one. Where did I? Is it in downloads? Where's the freaking? Where did I just save that to? Oh, save. Oh, no. Yeah, desktop. Eagles logo. Web image. No. Let me find anything. Come on. Save image as JPEG. There we go. Alright, desktop. Where's the... all files? No. Okay, I guess I don't know how. There we go. Okay. All right. G2G. How you like them apples? We'll keep that up there unless they start losing. Then I'm replacing it with my Snak Pak logo again. All right, so where should I fly next time with the in the H145? Where do you guys want to see a VFR flight? How about you guys ever heard of Davis Monthan Air Base? Let's see. I think that's how you say it. This could be cool. Have you guys ever heard of Davis Monthan Air Base? But there's like, where is it? There we go. There's rows and rows and rows of retired U.S. military aircraft there. Really cool place to fly. Almost got to fly over there in real life. Some of my buddies got to, and I didn't. I was really upset about it, but anyways, no biggie. So that's one potential spot. Catalina Island, heli tour of New York City, Grand Canyon. Okay. KAVX. Let's check that out. Where's that at? Catalina Island. Where the hell is that? Oh, off the coast of Cali. Catalina Island. Ooh, that's a really good idea. Is LA, isn't this close to LA actually? Or is that pretty far away? There was a there was a helipad on top of a building that was really cool. That's modeled out pretty well for Microsoft Flight Simulator. So maybe we'll do Catalina Island up to that helipad one day. There's like a U.S. Bank helipad, something like that. So that could be cool. Super close to LA, perfect. We'll just make sure the weather's good. All right, guys. So doing a quick check here. We got 29 miles to the next VOR, next waypoint. We'll just track that outbound. Let's see what kind of goodies this map has. Looks like we're landing runway 18. So I probably would have done this before I took off in real life, but let's check out HSV and see where the general aviation parking is. It looks like right there, right off to the right. So we're planning on landing runway 18 left. We'll see what tower gives us. And then it looks like we'll depart the runway as soon as we can.
Cessna Papa Flight 1, contact Atlanta approach on 124.5.
Atlanta approach.
Good day.
Okay, 124.5.
124.5 for Cessna Papa 51.
So for any of you aspiring pilots, fuel and comms always at the forefront of your mind. Atlanta approach, what's up?
Cessna Sierra Papa 51, 4,500 feet.
Cessna Sierra Papa Flight 1, Atlanta approach altimeter 29.
Roger, roger.
To continue as planned.
So you notice I haven't even really been touching these sticks very much, right? This is the modern era of aviation. You're not really doing a whole lot of wiggling sticks. It's a lot of cockpit management. It's a lot of planning and trying to stay ahead of the aircraft and figure out what's coming up next, right? So that's why I'm just getting a good glimpse of this airfield right now. Looks like I'm going to go get gas over at Signature Flight Support. This is my FBO. And then hopefully get something good to eat. What do they got to eat around there? I think there's some food and stuff. Okay. McAllister's Deli, Subway, Tony's Italian Deli. I think we're going to get Tony's Italian Deli. That's what I'd be looking for. 2 miles away. All right, and hopefully we get to see a big rocket over here. That'd be really nice. So I'll come in, let's see, what are the airspace dimensions? So again, as soon as I enter the shelf here, right, this Class Charlie airspace, we're looking at it from a bird's eye view. So the inner ring here, this inner magenta ring, is surface to 4,600 feet, all right? Anywhere inside that bubble, we're in the Class Charlie airspace. If I climb up to above that, 4,700, I technically don't have to talk to anybody, but that would be a really bad idea, right? Because there's probably a bunch of international flights coming in and out. But I'm not in the Class Charlie airspace at that point. Why did they tell me to contact Atlanta approach if they're just going to switch me over? Okay. See, that's the problem with the ATC and Microsoft Flight Simulator. They wouldn't be that silly. But I was probably flying like right on the border of 2 air traffic control zones here. Can't afford food after paying for gas. Yeah, well, certainly not getting any eggs, I'll tell you that. All right, 125.6. Yeah, I'm in the wrong business, man. I really just need to get a couple chickens and then be rolling in the dough.
Approach Cessna Sierra Papa 51, 4,500 feet.
Cessna Sierra Papa Flight 1, Huntsville approach altimeter 29.9 to continue as planned.
Sweet. Okay, so we're continuing as planned. So anyways, we were talking about this Class Charlie airspace, right? So Class Charlie airspace, we know this airport is towered because it's blue. And we know it's got some pretty long runways because we can actually see the runways. It doesn't look like... This one has a circle around the runway. But this one does not, indicating that it has a runway that's at least, top of my head, I think it's like 8,000 something feet. I can't remember the exact number, but it's got a pretty long runway, right? So, within the inner circle, surface to 4,600 feet. But now look at this. There's 2 sectors here, right? Let me see if I can draw on here. So there's 2 sectors here. We'll go, let's do some green ink. So now I've got this sector right here. And then I've got this other sector right here. So in this sector, 2,400 feet to 4,600 is Class Charlie, but right here, 2,000 to 4,600 is Class Charlie airspace, right? Anything under that, if I was flying right here, if I was flying anywhere in this sector, I could fly at, 1,500 and don't have to talk to anybody. I'm not in their airspace. Even though you would see my little airplane flying around in here, I would not be in their airspace. Now this is also a restricted area right here, so I don't want to mess around with that too much. All right. All right, so let's clear all that crap out. Good. $8,069. Nice. Nice. Thanks, Jason. I knew Jason would know. Did you start out flying fixed wing or rotorcraft? So I started my training in my official training in rotorcraft through the Army. I had flown a few flights before that in like little Cessnas and stuff. Just a few though, so it wasn't like official training. It was just flying around. But I did start off in rotorcraft, and I actually didn't get my fixed wing license until I started training in like 2019, and then COVID happened, and then I got deployed, and then when I came back, I finished up my my PPL, fixed wing PPL, in like 21, end of 2021. So it took like a year, over a year for me to get through the training, but 9 months of that I was out of country, so really I could have got it done pretty quick. But it was really easy. I only had to do 20 hours with an instructor and then 10 hours solo. Actually, the scariest flight of my entire life was in a Cessna 172. It was my solo cross country. So these instructors will give you, CFIs will give you an endorsement, and they will say you are clear to go fly by yourself, even though you don't have a license yet, don't have an official license. So I got my endorsement, and again, I already had like, I don't know, 400 hours or something of rotorcraft time, and I mean, I got the picture. Okay, I understand how to navigate airspace and all that. And he thought I was proficient enough on taking off and landing and controlling the airplane, so he's like, "Yep, here you go. You're good to go, right? Go do your solo cross country, right? And it's part of my requirements to be able to take a check ride. There's so many cross country hours you have to get. I think it's like 5 or 10." And I took off. I was flying around Nashville, and my plan was to hit like 4 or 5 different airports, do like a big ring around the rosy. And Mike 901 was my home base. It's Springfield, Tennessee, and it's Springfield's a little bit north of Nashville, northwest. Mike 901. So I was doing like a big ring, hitting a bunch of different airports, and I was flight following, much like I am right now, right, which is always a really good idea. And it was a little bit windy when I took off, and made the call. I actually called my CFI, and I was like, "Hey, these are the winds," because he put my endorsements in my logbook, and I just wanted to make sure he was tracking like what I was about to do. And I was like, "Yeah, winds are like at 8 knots on the runway," and that was the max. He said it was like the limit they set for me. It was the max of 8 knots. Keep in mind, I've taken off in like 35, 40 knot winds in a Black Hawk, and it's like, okay, you get bounced around a little bit, but Black Hawk's a beast of an aircraft compared to a little Cessna, right? So long story short, I take off, and out of nowhere the weather got a lot worse. The turbulence was really bad, and so it looked like this the whole time, just like I'm flying and just getting the crap beat out of me by the turbulence. And so, I mean, it would just out of nowhere, I'd be like, it would like knock me off. Oh, I just knocked my autopilot off. It would knock me like, 20, 30 degrees, like, I was just getting the crap beat out of me. And it just kept getting worse. And then I'm hearing on the radios, everybody's talking like, ATC's trying to guide people back in. And they're like, yeah, I had a few people land over at this little airport southeast of Nashville. I can't remember what it's called. What's it called? I'll think of it in a second. But like, yeah, I had a few people going in there. It was like a headwind coming in, so it wasn't so bad. But anyway, I was way west of Nashville, and it got so bad that I was like, I have to divert. I got to divert. And I called ATC and asked them, like, hey, I'm diverting. I'm coming back to Mike 901. Like, you know, I think I can make it back there, but I'm done. Out to the west, it was a lot worse, you know. And so I had a touchscreen Garmin GPS in this aircraft. And so I go to touch the touchscreen on the GPS to get me back to Mike 901. I knew the general direction it was, and I had my ForeFlight up, but I couldn't. I was getting bounced around so hard that I couldn't get the airport into my GPS. Right? I just couldn't do it, and like physically could not touch the screen at the right spot to get me to where I needed to go. So I literally was just flying off ForeFlight, navigating back home, and made it back. And then I'm on short final. I'm on like maybe a 3-4 mile final, and I'm descending, and I think I lost about 150 feet in like a quarter of a second from turbulence. And I mean, the whole airplane just dropped down. And if I didn't have my seatbelt on, I'm telling you right now, my head would have went through the ceiling.
Destination ATIS is 121.2.
Yeah, thanks. But anyway, that was the scare. Believe it or not, I've done, you know, military stuff, flying multi-ship formations at night with night vision goggles, and you're like a rotor disc away from the guy in front of you, and really bad weather and stuff. I've had some, you know, every pilot's going to have some stories to tell, but that day in that Cessna, that was the scariest flight. Like I was thinking like I might not make it home. Like I might not make it. And my landing was really, really ugly, and but ultimately I made it, and the aircraft is in one piece. I didn't break anything, so I consider myself pretty lucky, and learned an important lesson that day about winds and small general aviation airplanes. It's definitely a different beast. Yeah. All right, cool. So now in, let's see, who's this? Huntsville executive, Tom Sharp Jr. I'd probably make a CTAF call to those guys, right? Hey, transitioning through your airspace. And let's see here. So what I can expect next is, let's see, how far away are we? 6 miles, so we're almost to our VOR. Like I said, when I cross over this VOR, I'm going to change my course using this course CDI knob, and I'll move this course to a 220. Is that what it was? Yep, 220. And then we'll track the VOR outbound, and then we'll just be using visual until we find the runway, and we can expect to exit right. Yeah, it's a story all right. Story all right. The Mother Nature always has a say, guys. So don't play around with weather if you're getting into flying. It's not worth it. As they told us in flight school, takeoffs are optional, but landings are mandatory. So if you got a bad feeling, get the little hairs on the back of your neck standing up, then you might think about changing your plans. All right, cool. So let's do track up here on ForeFlight. Should be a significant tower out to the left. It's another thing I noticed about Microsoft Flight Simulator is that it doesn't really render towers very well. But I think I saw like a third-party add-on that adds a bunch of them into the sim. So I might look into getting that. All right. So we're almost there, and then we'll start as soon as we make this turn. Actually, we can just probably do it now. I got a couple minutes before we get to the next waypoint. We're going to do it before landing check. And so we use GUMPS, all right, is the acronym, like Forrest Gump. So gas, I want to make sure my fuel selector valve is on both here. It is, all right. Undercarriage, I'm just checking if I had like landing gear, retractable landing gear. This is when I would make sure, well, I'd probably wait till I got a little closer to the airfield to do that, but make sure my landing gear's out. But anyway, probably just kind of peek out the side here and make sure my landing gear looks okay. All right, mixture. And actually, I'm going to wait until I descend a little bit. Let's go ahead and descend now. So I'll change my autopilot here to, let's go down to, what's the airfield elevation here? It's like 5 now. Let's do it at 1,600 feet. So I'll set 1,600 in the bug here, but you notice we're not going anywhere because I have altitude hold on. What I'm going to do is engage vertical speed hold, and we'll descend. Let's do about 800 feet per minute. Sean, we're going to pretend Sean's not here. All right, and we're descending. And I pulled some of my power out because I don't want to get too fast here, right? You see this yellow tape right here? It's like precautionary zone for our airspeed, right? It's saying, hey, you probably don't want to fly this fast in this aircraft. All right, now here comes my waypoint, and let's just pull nav hold off for a minute. I'm going to turn to a 220. All right, now we'll go back to nav hold. That should, it looks like I'm going to have to intercept that course, right? Because it's not picking it up. So we'll go heading hold. We'll get intercept our 220. So I'm going to set my heading bug on about a 45-ish degree intercept to come intercept this line. So that's my course deviation indicator. It's off to the left because that's where the course is. And you can even see on ForeFlight, the course is off to the left here, right? Now this is using GPS, so it's a little different, but it doesn't matter. Now here it comes, and then we'll engage nav, and it should pick up. Oh, should pick up VOR. Here we go. It's getting us on course. Nice. And that to from indicator is pointing behind us, right? Yeah, you probably want to stay out of that yellow arc if you can. All right, cool. So they should be switching me over to the tower frequency like any minute now because I'm in the Class Charlie airspace. So hopefully, yeah, actually, let's just cancel flight following.
Huntsville approach Cessna Papa 51 cancel flight following.
All right, and then what is my tower freak here?
Approach cancellation received. Squawk 1200. Frequency change approved.
1200. Okay, so I was talking. I could have done a lot of this stuff before I even showed up, but let's go to Huntsville Tower 127.6. So I am behind the aircraft right now. I don't really like to be behind the aircraft. I didn't get my ATIS yet. All right. So it's not letting me use that, so I'll just tune to Huntsville International here, yeah. Quest full stop landing.
Huntsville Tower Cessna Sierra Papa 51 is 8 miles northeast, 2,100 feet with echo to land.
Flight events, Jason 6. Application called flight events.
Altimeter 29.9, 2 wind calm, fly straight in runway 18 left.
Runway 18 left. Flight events is right here. It's a free app.
51 wind calm, clear to land runway 18 left.
Clear to land runway 18 left Cessna Papa 51.
All right, clear to land 18 left. Cool, that's where I wanted to land. I actually got the tower in sight, I believe. Yeah, there's a control tower, and there's runway 18 left. Should be right over here. Have a good one, Andrew. Thanks for hanging. Okay, so now we just leveled off at 1,600 feet, so I got to make sure that my airspeed stays alive here. And now, in a descent, we should have been adding our mixture back in. All right, so now we'll continue with the rest of the GUMPS check. We had gas, undercarriage is good, mixture is full rich, prop and power. All right, power set appropriately right now. And then my prop's spinning, so we're good. And then seat belts are good. Switches, do I have any switches? I need to turn like landing light on or anything? Nope, we're good to go. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and disengage autopilot. I'll turn my flight director off. I don't need any of that stuff. Come on over here to the right, banking right. And I'm going to enter on like a left base almost. He said straight in, I think, right? Isn't that what they told me? Fly straight in, runway 118 left. Well, I can't really do that. Alright, so now, coming into land, I'm going to start slowing back. And then I have a white arc here on my airspeed indicator. It starts at 85 knots. As soon as I hit that, I can put my first notch of flaps in. Alright, now flaps are going to increase the lift on my wings, but they're also going to slow me down a little bit. I'll go ahead and add a second notch in. I don't want to get too slow here, so I'm using my trim. I've got my trim binded up to my throttle quadrant here, right? But this is the trim wheel that I'd be using in real life, and I kind of have my stuff reversed here. I've got my yoke on the right and my throttle on the left here and on my desk, but it is what it is. So 75 knots, this is looking good. Hand fly for Harambe.
500.
So I just got flaps at 20 degrees. All right, the flaps, let's get rid of this thing here. Flaps are right here, so that's what I would be using in real life. And then what's the ground frequency here? 121.9. So I'll put that in. See if I can do this while I'm doing several things at once. Panic. 121.9. Okay, I got that in COM 2, so now I can just switch to COM 2 as soon as they tell me to switch to ground here. Alright, airspeed's looking good, about 70 knots, 65. I got a little low here, so you can see on the PAPI up there. Can't really see it. See how all those are red? That means I'm way too low. I under-arced a lot. I was distracted. Alright, and then my airspeed's kind of dying off here. I'm going to add a bunch of power. Oh, man. Panic. I don't know why my view here is all messed up. But okay, here we go. There we go. Now we're on a little bit better glide path. So I have an opinion about waiting to add flaps until you can glide to the field. I mean, yeah, I was on a good altitude where I could have glided to the field at that point, so I was good, and then I just got distracted putting in frequencies and I screwed it all up, but it's okay.
Short final runway.
All right, cool. We're on short final. I'm just getting lined up. I basically cut my throttle out because I'm at 76 knots. It's a little fast for me. I want to be really about 65, so that's okay. So I could do like a slip to land right here if I wanted to slow down a little bit, kick my trim out, and there we go. Now we're slowing down. So 65 looks good. We get lined up here. And then I'm going to come to like just a couple feet over the center line here. And then we'll just hold it, hold it, hold it. I'm going to feel it start sinking. Start pulling back on the yoke, a little flare. Should hear the stall horn maybe. Oh, come on. There we go. And we're on the ground. And the front's G2G. And now we're just waiting for tower to tell me where to get off at. They should tell me. There we go. When able. Okay. Exit runway when able. I'll just take this one right here. Looks like Echo. I can't really see here. Where am I at? There it is, right in front of me. Okay, so I'll follow this little yellow line off to the right here. Hey, Jason, listen. It's a program called Flight Events. I'll show you here after I park.
Cessna Papa 51 contact ground on 121.9er.
Ground on 121.9er. Okay. Cool. I already got it right here, so I can just go like this. Boop. And then I can contact ground. Well, okay. I already did. Request taxi to parking.
Huntsville ground, Cessna Sierra Papa 51 request taxi to parking.
Cessna Sierra Papa 51 taxi to general aviation parking using taxiway Bravo Charlie cross runway 18 left.
Bravo Charlie? What? I don't think they know where I'm at. Okay, so I would probably tell
Taxiing
them
to general aviation parking via taxiway Bravo Charlie.
I'm on
cross
E5. I need to take
left,
Echo.
Cessna
All right,
Papa
this is taxiway Echo right here. I need to take that to get over to general aviation parking. So ATC is obviously a bit confused. But if they told me some crazy crap like that in real life, I'd probably just I wouldn't continue until I was all settled on where I was going. Right, there was actually a near miss just like a couple weeks ago with some airliners. One of them was taxiing onto an active runway where another airline was about to take off, and ground control came over real quick and was like, "Hey, whoa, stop, stop, stop!" And
Cessna Papa 5-1, hold position, caution, other traffic.
okay, whoops.
Hold position. Cessna Papa
Holding
5-1.
position. I don't know what traffic she's talking about, but
Cessna Papa 5-1, continue taxi.
okay, continue taxi.
Roger Cessna Papa 5-1.
So I'll just pull off on the next taxiway, Echo 3 here. Anyways, yeah, there was a really bad, almost a near miss. If those two aircraft would have collided a couple weeks ago, it probably would have been like the deadliest aviation mishap in like history. Fortunately, they stopped and they didn't die, right? But taxiing, you got to be really, really careful. Just because you're on the ground doesn't mean like you stop being prudent here. So, all right, looking off to the right. We're good. Clear to the left. Uh-oh, come on. All right. Is this guy going to try to park me? I don't know. Oh, here, hang on a second. Oh, come on. What's going on? All right, here we go. My flight controls just stopped working for a second there. Yes, ATC and too many people watching the Eagles game. All right, I want to try to run this guy over. Where's he at? Where'd he go? There he is. We're going to park just shy of him. All right, so he probably would have parked me somewhere, or I would have just found a spot, but this looks good. Oh, God. Here we go. Here we go. This is for your crappy ground controller. All right, we're going to stop here. Parking brake is coming engaged. And then we'll come to our checklist, and we can start shutting down. So I rushed some things right there, right? There would have been a descent checklist, right? You saw how I increased my mixture to full rich and all that stuff. Before landing, we did our GUMPS check. Normal landing, great. After landing check, great. Wing flaps all the way up. And, yeah, I forgot to do that. So wing flaps would come all the way up after landing. And then securing the airplane, we got the parking brake on. Throttle control coming back to idle. Electrical equipment will turn off. And let's see, mixture control, we can come idle, cut off. And no, I want to continue. Magneto switch is coming off. Master switch is coming off. And then standby battery switch, we can turn that off as well. Oh, I guess that never got armed. Whoops. Okay, well, I guess I never armed my standby battery, so that's on me. Okay, cool. So, hey, Jason. Yeah, Jason, you need to check out my, I did a video on my full setup, and I show how to hook up the A20, the Bose A20s. But right here, there's this program called Flight Events, all right? You turn this on. This is a free desktop application, right? You turn it on, you got to set it up, right? I think, yeah, broadcast data over local network, all right? And then you just hit start tracking. And then on ForeFlight, you see in devices, it says connected to flight events, provides GPS and or AHRS data. And then once you get that, then you're paired up, right? So that's a free program. So, but yeah, the Bose A20, I can just show you. Not sure how well the lighting's going to be down here. But yeah, there's a little plug. This is the Flight Sounds FSX Solo General Aviation little plug, but it just plugs via USB basically. So, all right, guys. Well, that will just about do it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the show here, and please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And thanks for hanging with me. It's been a blast. be having some really cool videos coming out pretty soon, and then we'll look at I'll look at doing another live stream in the H145 as soon as I remember how all that stuff, all the autopilot and stuff works. All right, so all right guys, Snak Pak's out of there. You guys have fun. Have a good one.